Let's not focus on this. Like, ask me questions about the game. Like, it's not about the fans. The fans aren't playing.
From a basketball standpoint,
Yeah.
do you feel like the hostility you get?
There's no hostility, bro. It's basketball.
Well, you were flicking some people off. I'd say that's some hostility.
From what? What point? Are you guessing that that's hostility, or like hostility for me is like growing up?
Well, we've never seen that from you this season, where you are running down the floor flicking people off.
This is the first time you actually caught it because it's a big-time game. I respond in different ways. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to focus on that. If you want to ask me questions about the fans, go ask them. Go on the street and ask them questions, all right?
But I'm asking from your perspective, from a basketball perspective, do you feel like the hostility that you get?
It's not hostility, bro.
Do you feel like the energy you get from fans in this building brings
Embrace
out
it.
the best from you?
Embrace it. Embrace it. It's the dark side. Embrace it.
Did we like how Kyrie Irving handled the Boston crowd? Zay, I throw that right up to you again.
I don't have a problem with it personally. I know the integrity of the league and things and that nature. The image of the player is high. Like, you know, what the basketball player means to the average fan. They're looked upon as gods. They're looked upon as like superhumans in a sense, and that they can just do whatever they want to them because they won't get hurt or infected by it. I think Kyrie responded well. You know, people were jousting a lot of different things at him. They were saying whatever they wanted. And Kyrie, he always stated, "I'm a human being at the end of the day. I feel and I have emotion just like the next person. And you know, he's in the midst of playing basketball at the highest level, and he's competing. So you know, he's already mentally in that regard. And then you got thousands of people outside the arena. I mean, like on around him, essentially yelling, cursing at him, saying all these different things, calling him out his name. The Lord knows if they said anything else that could have antagonized him to act the way he did. But I don't fault him for that. You know, I think at the end of the day, we're seeing how it's affecting these players. You know, social media, at one point in time, social media wasn't a big thing for these basketball players. They didn't have to focus on what other people were saying and all these different things. But now social marketing and social media thing is a part of these elites athletes' life. So now they're unfortunately forced to see these things. Like they're exposed to it rather one way or another because social media and other aspects of the game and of life have made fans more accessible to these players. And they know they're subjected to a lot of different things. You're talking about Kyrie Irving going back to Boston when he initially left them because things didn't work out in his favor. And, you know, Boston crowd didn't like that. They still, you know, harbor some hard feelings about that towards him. And, you know, I think Kyrie handled it really well. You know, he didn't go out in the crowd and try to fight people like Marcus Smart in college. You know, the guy just, you know, started crying. He did the little crying stuff. He did the little middle fingers and stuff in that nature. And you know, it was funny because it's not like he's harming anybody. Nobody harmed him. But you know, if the crowd is going to dish it out, they got to be able to take what they're dishing out as well. So I don't have an issue with it, but I know the league is definitely going to fine him for doing the response the way he did.
I mean, when you talk about the art of social media in sports, I think that, you know, these players should be lucky that they have social media. I mean, Michael Jordan possibly back in the day would look at it and be like, listen, you saw what I did without social media, bro? Could you imagine if I had social media? So all you have to do pretty much is, you know, obviously social media is like a vacuum. It comes with the good, it comes with the bad. But social media, the reality of social media is what you make social media be. If you follow toxic people and you know, entertain toxic people, then social media is going to be toxic for you. If you use social media to enhance your brand, then social media will look like a tool for you. It's just how your reality is what you let in. That's basically what it is, and what you entertain. So if you entertain fans on social media and you read DMs, then social media is bad for you. If you use it to enhance your popularity and endorsement opportunities and things of that nature, and your outside base to come into your base of basketball and your brand, then it's not a bad thing. So I think when you talk about Kyrie Irving and the way how he handled the crowd, from a fan perspective, I like it because it's like, you know, you get to see the little things going on, the little things, right? The middle finger, the sticking up the middle finger, the cursing at the fan and walking into the locker room. Those things, it just builds up the next game. So from that perspective, you know, you want to lock in. You want to see if the fans are going to take it up a notch. You want to see how Kyrie Irving is going to handle it. Clearly, from on the court, he handled it like a professional. I mean, he was the one that showed up for this Nets team, the only one there, I remind you, that showed up in this game. The guy dropped about, was it 34 points he dropped in the game? So he was shooting the lights out the gym. And then he didn't allow that to affect him. But from another standpoint, I just think because he's supposed to be going on his spiritual journey, I wouldn't allow these fans to get to my head to the point where I start acting out of character. You know, when you're going through, should I say, a spiritual journey like how he's going to do during Ramadan, that's more of a, you know, you want peace. You know what I'm saying? You fasting for a reason. When you fast from a religious standpoint, it's because you're trying to, you know, make situations better. Try to get wisdom on how to attack certain situations. You know, try to keep the peace. That's why you fast. That's the art of fasting, right? It's not really nothing else. So I think to allow fans to get you out of that character when you're going through the spiritual journey, because look at his post game after the Nets playing game. It wasn't like this. It was guy was giving a whole speech about spirituality. Okay, now we go from that to this post game conference when you lost. You're not having that same energy. I think when you are a human being, it's not about, like I always tell people that's Christians, right? It's not about going to church on Sundays and sitting on that chair like you Rosa Parks with your hat on and all that, you know, outfit on. It's what you do on Monday. It's what you do on Saturday night, most of. It's what you do on Saturday night and Monday. Okay, so if from that perspective, I just don't want to see Kyrie Irving get out of character from that perspective. From basketball, I don't have no issue with it.
The only thing I have an issue with was like the reporters. I think that's one thing that was getting a little irritating, and I was irritated just listening to it because the reporter kept saying, "Oh, from a basketball point of view." I mean, there's nothing basketball about someone cursing you out. There's no basketball point of view of that. You know, that's not part of the game. You know, that's trash talking. That's its own separate entity of something else, and that's not even trash talking because the player is not like a player and player combative thing where they're going back and forth. It's the fans thinking they can just say whatever they want and everything is cool and copacetic because you're watching your favorite team getting beat up or you're watching your favorite team play against an elite athlete. Anything you can just curse you out, do whatever they want. That's a privileged point of view. You have to. That's what Kyrie said. You have to ask the fans. Go out on the street, ask the fans that question if it's all right from their point of view, if it's all right for you to curse you out or whatever at your job. If someone was cursing you out at your job and you can't do nothing because you get fired or something like that, you ask them if that's all right. You know, then that's something that needs to be addressed going forward because they, you know, that's the league is they going to do so much because they can't control the fans. You know, that's the one thing. They don't have enough security in the arenas to control the fans on what they're saying and what they're doing. So it's getting to the point like, how the heck could you mitigate this? Because it's getting worse and worse as the playoffs go on. Last playoff, Trae Young was getting spit on in the Garden. That's not cool. And then I think before that, there was throwing stuff at Westbrook, and then when he was walking out of the arena, you know, that's not cool. You got fans running up to Westbrook. I think was it Houston, I believe, when against Utah, when he had to push a fan because the fan got in his face. Like, what are you doing? So it's getting to the point where the fans are just saying whatever they want, they're doing whatever they want. And as Kyrie Irving, as a basketball player, playing at the highest level against in a playoff environment, he said it correctly. You know, this is the stuff I have to deal with where I come from. This is where it is. You know, it's at a competitive level. I don't hate nobody. I don't whatever. But if they're gonna say something back, I'm gonna give them the same energy back. And that's just where it's at. I'm not gonna harbor this energy or feelings and go back in the locker room and curse out my teammates or curse out my coach because of some exterior factor that happened to me. I'm gonna just dish it right back out to them. Whoever's giving it to me, I'm giving it right back out to them. And I think it was a fair response because as life goes on and as people told us in our lives, when you're given energy in certain ways, you can rather A, ignore it, or B, dish it right back out. That's just how it is. You can take the higher road, or you could give you what you're getting, what you're given. So, hey, if people can't accept that, then, you know, that's just life, unfortunately.
I think it just goes back to the point that, you know, a lot of people, they do stuff because they know that nobody's going to do it back.
Correct.
If they know people are going to do it back, they wouldn't do it. Do you see? Do people go to the zoo and get in there with the gorillas? You know what I'm saying? Because they know the gorillas gonna tear them out the frame. Mm-hmm. All right, they don't mess with the gorillas unless there's a cage there, and they could, you know, throw stuff in there and try to antagonize gorillas. But they know damn well they get inside there with them gorillas is tearing them out the frame. They're having them for dinner, a nice Sunday night dinner. It's a wrap. So I think when you look at life from that perspective, I mean, you know, like I said, I know it's a little bit outdated. A lot of people beat this out the ballpark, but Will Smith, and that was The Rock that did what Chris Rock did. You think that Will Smith gonna go up there and antagonize and smack The Rock? Hell no, he ain't doing that. So it's like that. They know that these athletes are not gonna get their run-on tests on, right, and go in there and handle business because they can't. They get suspended. These guys are trying to win basketball games. They're not trying to miss games. So then they antagonize these athletes, and we'll see how Kyrie Irving handles game 2 and the rest of the games at TD Garden, considering that they get further in the playoffs and how that rises and how Kyrie Irving continues to rise along with that. Like I said, it's made for good TV. And ladies and gentlemen, y'all know me.
Can You Dig It Sports Radio Network is here. Revolutionize the game of media. Be a dig.